All right, what's up, everybody? Happy to be on another YouTube Hangout. Steve, you made it.
Yes, I did. Thank you.
I was just about to start, and so I was going to answer your questions, and just as I press record, he shows up. I love it. How you doing, Steve?
I'm doing very well, thank you. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Cool. Well, Steve invited me to be a part of his white paper and answer a couple questions for him, and I thought, hey, why don't we do it as a YouTube Hangout so we can learn about Steve and what he's all about. So, Steve, before we get into your question, do you want to quickly introduce yourself to the audience, what you're all about, your website, what you're trying to do, so there's a little more context?
Sure. Well, thank you very much. My name is Steve DiGioia, of course. I'm a customer service trainer, coach, author, and aspiring speaker. I spent the last 20 years in the hospitality industry, mainly in the food and beverage side, and we all know how challenging that is. My focus right now is on helping companies and their employees be as successful that they can and provide the anticipatory service that they all desire. I'm a big proponent of customer service. I look at it that if you don't provide great service, your customers will go someplace else to your competition that will. I also write a blog, and so I focus on customer service, management, and leadership topics, and I'm very happy to be here.
All right, cool. Well, let's get into the questions. Let's talk.
Okay, great. What I did a couple of years ago, I started getting more involved in dealing with some of the leaders in the customer service and the business industry in general. And I found that they were so wonderful, so giving of themselves, that it's no wonder why they are great in this industry. So one of the articles I wanted to write for my blog was, instead of just hearing my thoughts about service, let me get some of the leaders' thoughts on it. And that's why I, of course, reached out to you. So what the question really is, it's a two-part. It is, businesses are constantly touting and championing how great their customer service is. But as time goes on, they start getting a little bit more away from customer service as their primary goal, and they start focusing on profit first and maybe even lower payroll. So I wanted to ask you is, why do you think that happens? Why do you think the mindset goes away from service as their number one goal and it moves more toward profit as their number one goal? And what can we do to prevent that from the future?
That's a cool question. I'm looking forward to seeing this white paper when it comes out, or this blog article. For me, as someone who deals with a lot of entrepreneurs, you see it a lot where the entrepreneur starts a business and they have this mindset, mentality, and really caring about their customers. And as they grow and build, their team takes over, and it may not be the same experience as maybe they go public and bring on a board and have investors, and they have less and less control. I think there's a direct correlation between the amount of the founder's involvement and the level of service and care. I think nobody treats you better than the founder who started the business, because the most successful entrepreneurs start a business not just to make money, but because they want to solve a real need. They really care about their customers. It's not just a marketing thing. It's not just lip service. It's a genuine thing that they care about their customers. And the entrepreneurs who just start a business trying to make money, they usually don't last very long. And then along the way, as you grow, you're going to build a team. You're going to bring people on who may not care as much. It may just be more of a job for them. And then I think especially as you get bigger and you have investors and quarterly financials that you need to meet and have outside pressures, or you bring on professional management to help you run the business, and now you have a more backseat role. I think there's a direct correlation between how much involvement the founder has and what level of love and support goes into the customer service.
I think you're definitely right.
In terms of how to combat that, I think it's really important to have the culture around service, but something that's actually meaningful. I think it's up to, I think if a company's already gone sideways and they don't care about it anymore, it can be hard to get it back. I think it starts at the leadership position, like who's the CEO, who's running the ship, and are there real rewards and incentives put in place to encourage great service?
Sure.
If it's one of 10 things that somebody's being measured on, then it's probably not going to be a high priority for anybody in the company.
Sure.
But if the service level is one of the main things, or the main thing that you evaluate your team on, if you're doing performance reviews and service is the top thing that everybody looks at, then you can bet the team's going to care a lot more about service. You can bet that the people who don't care about service will leave the company because they're not getting ahead. Like, what's this customer service stuff? This is garbage. I don't want to talk to customers.
I want to look at my financials, and that's it at that point.
Yeah, or different metrics, right? I mean, like a salesperson, if all they care about is meeting their quota and they don't care about the service afterwards and the delivery of whatever product or service they were selling, and if all you're rewarding that salesperson is on meeting their quota, then that's all they're going to care about. It's like, hey, let's go get more quota. Bang it out. I don't care how well the clients get service. I'm just going to go get new business. Where if you adjusted the metrics to say, listen, it's important. Customer satisfaction is important. Customer retention is important. We're going to reward you based on how much a client loves working with us. Then that salesperson now is involved post-sale, keeping the relationship alive, making sure they're happy. If there are any problems, can I help? Can I be of assistance? What can I do to make this better for you? And if you're rewarding based on that, then you want to attract a different kind of salesperson. Like the salesperson who only cares about quotas, they'll leave your company.
As soon as they're not getting the benefit, the commission or the bonus based upon their revenue, they go on to the next person.
Yeah, they want that's the job that they want, and that's great. If you're a service-oriented business, maybe that's not the type of salesperson that you want in your company, and that applies all the way down the list. It's not just salespeople. It's your customer support desk. It's your programmers. Like, do your programmers care about the service level that you're giving the clients? Are they rewarded? Even people who may never have any customer-facing position should care about service.
Well, they have to understand that they are part of the entire package that makes the end user experience be what it is. You hear about, we all focus on customer service in a store, in a business, but today it's all on the internet. That's why companies like Amazon are who they are. And the software developers and the people who are putting the website together, they also have to look at it as, can I get to where I want to be within 1, 2, 3 clicks, as an example? Because if you have to scroll through screen after screen and you have to constantly read through pages and pages of documentation to get to where you want, that is no difference than you walking blindly through a store looking for that one person who's working in the plumbing aisle of Home Depot. Meanwhile, you want to ask him a question about the electrical and he doesn't know anything about it. It's the entire package. Same thing in a restaurant. You want to have a wonderful ambiance, wonderful service, and your waiter or waitress has to do all the particular bells and whistles. But if your dishwasher doesn't understand that if he or she is not washing the pots properly and quick enough so you can get the pots to the chef and to the cooks to prep the food, that's going to add 2, 3, 5 minutes to the entire process, and that makes a big difference, especially for a one-person diner. I've learned that many years ago. The hardest person in the restaurant to take care of is that single female diner, because their mindset is very different why they're out to eat versus a group of 5 or 6 men after work. And so part of the training process, part of the overall mindset has to be that there is no one person any more important than everybody else when it comes to the entire package. And once we start getting away from that mindset and just look to, well, bring this person in a half hour later because we can save $6 an hour or whatever the situation is. Well, if one person has to wait a little bit more, if one person has to wait in a line at the supermarket longer than this imaginary time, that will change their overall experience. And then what comes next? They're going to go someplace else where they don't get that. And you make some great points. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it stems from the top, like in anything else. And you have to have somebody who will have the courage to stand up to the other people in the organization, the other investors, the other senior management, and say, no, this is what's important. There's a picture of Howard Schultz behind me. He just left as being the CEO of Starbucks. And the reason why he's up on the wall is, my favorite story about him is there was this investor meeting where Howard Schultz decided that Starbucks would support gay marriage. They're one of the biggest companies in the world to say we are in support of gay marriage before all the other companies came on board and said that this is something they believed in. Sure. And an investor stood up and said, listen, Starbucks shouldn't be taking a stand on this. We sell coffee. I care about my returns. I want my share price to go up. Just sell more coffee, be more efficient. Don't take a political stance. This is not important for us. What are you doing? And Howard got back up and said, listen, the lens through which we made this decision was not an economic one. We see the world through the diversity of our employees, and we support the diversity of them and our team, and we feel this is the right thing to do. And if you don't like that and you don't think you're getting a big enough return, you're free to sell your shares in Starbucks and go buy something else. And I love that. And you know, for him, it's not necessarily service that he saw the world through. It's more the diversity. So the support and diversity of his team. And so here he is telling a shareholder in a public forum on video, news cameras, basically
forever,
like, go away. You know, this is how we made the decision. Sure. And so I think it's up to the leader to have the courage to be able to say, hey, this is what's really important. This is what our company really stands for. A lot of companies, you know, they don't even know what they stand for. They have 25 core values that are on a plaque that nobody can remember.
Correct.
And so if you want to build a company around service, then it's got to be something that the leadership team, and it starts with whoever the CEO is or whoever the founder is, really takes careful, you know, deliberate attention and is at the core of everything they do. And then they only hire people who believe the same thing. They reward based on people who believe the same thing. And it can happen. You can turn around the company, but I think if a CEO, you need a new CEO. Like if a company's gone sideways, you need a new CEO. Correct. Like it's hard for somebody who hasn't made it to now say, oh, now I care about service, let's go and do it. It's like it's not core enough to what you're all about.
Yeah, but unfortunately, too many businesses look at it the other way. You know, they look at it that, well, if the company service scores are going down or profits are going down, the problem is not from the top. The problem is from the line staff that are doing it, or the middle management. And those people are the ones that have I think the biggest responsibility, because they're stuck between an apathetic staff that has to follow some outdated policies and procedures that don't leave room for dealing with the changes and the challenges that you really need to do when you're on the front line of business. Because all the people at top, they're protected. They're invested. They may have an employment agreement. They may have certain scenarios where it doesn't pay to move them out of that position. Unlike a baseball team, if the team's not doing well, the manager goes. And so at some point, you have to realize who's leading the charge. Is it the $9, $10, $12 an hour employees, or the manager who's making $35,000? Or is it that person at the top that no longer walks through the factory, no longer walks through the selling space, or actually gets involved with the one upset customer? It always turns out to be a relatively minor employee that is the face of your business. And if they don't produce, or if they are not doing whatever they can to get their scores higher, in my industry, you get your service scores higher, or you get whatever metrics, as you mentioned, you want to manage. If they're not doing that, it is the management's fault. It is not it's the employee's fault. It is not the senior manager who is really guiding the ship. And that's where, in addition to everything that you said, I think it's so keen. We forget that your face of your company is not your big sign. It's not your $1 million Super Bowl advertisements. It's that person who is helping you down the aisle in your store. It's that cashier. I know when I worked at one airport hotel, and the number one employee that we used to try to focus on and try to tell people about was the shuttle driver. Because what's your first impression when you come off the airplane? It's that man or woman who picks you up at the bus. They have to be this warm, welcoming personality and knows everything about the area, everything about what time the restaurant opens, because on that 10, 15, 20-minute drive to your hotel, they should be schooled in everything about your company. And that is who starts off your entire interaction. And we forget that sometimes, and we start worrying about how you can nitpick here and there, because you do have your investors that you have to answer to. So that's where this challenge has to be. And I think the ones that continue, the Ritz-Carltons, the Southwest Airlines, the Amazons, the Starbucks, all those companies, they have somebody at the top or close to the top that has that core value that always keeps coming back to why are we in business? Not to make coffee or sell coffee. It is to provide a service to our customers, and to do it in such a way that makes them feel good, makes them feel that they're appreciated when they come to that company. And why should I go there? Well, coffee is coffee. Well, maybe, maybe not. but I want to get my coffee from this person because they make me feel great when I go there. I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I agree. I think it starts at the top with leadership. I mean, two of the guys on my wall here, you look at Jobs, built this amazing company, left, the company tanks, he comes back, it comes back up again. Same thing with Schultz, he's, you know, CEO, built it up, left to be chairman, company goes down, comes back to be CEO, company takes off again.
All right.
So the leadership at the top, somebody who actually has core values and lives them instead of just professional management to move the company forward, I think is important. And then when you're looking at your team, I think it's a combination of training and values. Some people may just not be the right, some people just may not love customer service. Some people may not agree that, you know, listen, I'm a bus driver. I just need to get people there as fast as possible. I don't need to say hi. I don't need, you know, the bus will be clean and I'm going to get there really fast. That's what matters. Well, you know, actually it's not what matters. You know, yes, you need to get there fast, but having knowledge of the company and greeting them and saying hi and having a nice smile, you know, that matters. And so for that person, it just may not be like, you can't train them, just let them be happy somewhere else. And there are other people who have the values, but they don't know what to do. Like, I love helping people. And I don't know how to help them. Okay, well, when somebody comes on the bus, like here's how you can greet them, and here's how you can smile, and here's some information about the company. So so between those two things, between proper training and having the right value set, I think you can solve a lot of the problems down the chain.
Right off the bat. And at the same time, I think you have to take a long time to hire the right people, pick out who you truly think is the best from the available pool, but be relatively quick to let them go if they're not doing what you want. And I don't mean as far as production wise, as far as keeping that mindset up and going, because they're going to get a lot of kickback from some of the existing employees who are a little jaded for whatever the reason. And so you can't just reduce your entire workforce. You can't do that. So it's a process to go on there and try to build up the new clientele based upon your new employees that you have. And it's a hard process to get out of that funk. And if you have two gentlemen like that, it might be a little bit easier, but that's not always the case to have superstars like what's up on your wall at the moment. Yeah. So it's a constant effort that we have to keep doing and keep going back to where we are. That's why I think it's not just training for the sake of training, because you've probably been in countless meetings, and whether it's 5 people or 100 people, and you're falling asleep after the first 10 minutes. And we used to have trainings on some companies I work for once a month, and it's meaningless. You have to give people actionable skills that they can actually take and how that interacts with the people that are paying your salary. One thing I used to tell all my new employees is, who pays you? And they would say, oh, the boss pays me. Okay, how does the boss pay you? Well, he writes me a check. Well, where does that money come from? Well, I guess it comes from the customers that walk in the door. Okay, so do you think that if the customer stopped walking in the door for whatever the reason, he's still going to have a paycheck for you? Oh, probably not. So I'll say it again. Who actually pays you? I understand the customer pays me. And they have to turn it around and realize that everybody has such an important part. And so training for the sake of training doesn't fix the issue. Training to let them understand why we are here and how to go about that, I think that's really the way to go.
Yeah, I think for every business, it's important to understand that there's one thing that needs to come above money. Whatever your core value is, I wrote a book about it, it's your one word, whatever that is more important than money. Now, money is important to every business, right? Like, we're not running a charity here, you know, unless you are, but money is not everything, and it's not evil either. You know, money is important in every business. You need to make profits. You have to, you know, turn it over. You got to have a good business that's making money. But there has to be something above it, whatever that is. So, you know, for Howard Schultz, maybe it was diversity. For Steve Jobs, maybe it's making an impact. For other people, like maybe Sam Walton, maybe it's service. You know, whoever it is, if you want to be really great as a business owner, I feel like there has to be something that you would do that money is not the number one option. What would you say no to money for? There's got to be something like, hey, here's $1 million to do this, and like, no, I'm not going to do it because it violates your
principles. Or correct,
right? And so a lot of times when just professional managers take over, they don't have the courage to say no to the board, or no to the stockholders, or no to the analysts, or no to that, you know, big opportunity that comes in. even though it goes against maybe the values of the company. And that's when the company starts to tank. It may be a short-term win, but the long-term you're going to lose.
Well, that's the whole thing. What's happened in the hospitality, in the hotel industry the last few years is you have all these new management companies coming in. You know, as we all know, Hilton is not Hilton anymore. They were sold to Blackstone many years ago, and companies are all merging. But you have these new hospitality groups that are coming in, and their entire plan is to go buy a property or a group of properties and turn them after 3 or 4 years. And so how do you do that? You can't just make more customers walk in your door overnight. You can't just raise your prices because that's just going to turn people away. So they now start managing the financial side of it. And I've been part of that myself. And it's a terrible way because you have what you believe is a great team, and you see all the good things that are done for your client base, and they keep coming back time and time again. And now new management comes in, and besides the fact that they usually want to clean house, because that's just part of how things are done, but the focus is now on something different, because that was what their mission statement was. Their mission statement was to come in here, I'm giving you a 2-3 year contract. Your goal is to make the numbers better, or depending on what the situation is. And they're either going to accept that because they have their new job, or they're going to say, I can't do that, and lose the position. So a lot of times we can't just say that it is that they don't want to go ahead and focus on the service. Sometimes when new management is brought in, their specific goal is to reach this level, and they hopefully compensated well. And that just goes in taking a particular business or particular property from what it was known for or known as into, oh, well, I'm just a number now. You know, they're looking to nickel and dime me because the business changes. And that's a real shame, because you take what you've built up for so long, like when, you know, a business is built up from the parent, handed off to one of the children, and it just goes down because they're looking at it very differently. They don't realize what it took to get there. And that's why so many employees get jaded, because they realize, you know, they don't care about us anymore. You know, and it's a real issue in the business world. And so it's hard to do that. And you can't just necessarily say, well, I don't like it here, I'm going to go quit and get another job somewhere. That's not that easy. And so there's a lot that goes into it. So it's hard to motivate your staff that feels that they're working in a position that they can't get better at, they can't advance. People aren't listening to them. They don't appreciate what they're doing because, well, you came in 10 minutes late, you're fired. Well, that maybe worked years ago. You can't really do that much anymore. And so it's a real big challenge. And what people like, you know, the people that were part of this posted that I've got involved to get their thoughts on it, they all pretty much think the same thing. And that is what I think has also made them so successful, because they understand what it takes to bring this to the masses. And based upon what they've done and some of the leaders that you have on your wall and some of the leaders I've been speaking with, I think we can turn the tide. Is that the correct way of saying it? And we have to continually focus on what's more important, making people feel special. I mean, Disney is the king at it. Yes, they make some beautiful rides and cartoons and the whole bit, but you go there, you feel special. I went there on my honeymoon 22 years ago. And I still remember things that were done when I came back to my suite. Every single day for 10 days, spent a fortune, separate issue. We all know that. But every day we came back, there was something different done in the room. Wherever I went in the hotel, people knew my name. I never told them my name. Well, I don't know how they do it. They must have hidden cameras everywhere. Who cares? They make you feel special. And that is why they have such a unique customer base that comes back time and time again. We need to find more Disneys like that.
Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to reading your article, Steve. Thanks for the time today. For
You're very welcome.
People want to find more about you, where are they going?
Well, I would say you can go to stevediGioia.com. It's last name is not how it's spelled. It's DiGioia, stevediGioia.com. And my blog on the top right, there's a link to that. I write the weekly articles once a week on the blog. I think you'll enjoy that. And that's probably the best way. You also have a contact page there. You'll learn a little bit more about me as well. And I invite everybody to stop by and say hi.
Very cool. And when is this post going up about what we're talking about today?
Well, The post itself is actually out because it came out a little bit earlier than what we have here, but I'm going to revise that and add some of the comments that you put on today, and I definitely will send you the link, and we'll take it from there.
Very cool. Well, thank you, Steve, for the time. Thank you guys so much for watching live as well. We believe in you. Hope you continue to believe in yourself. Much love, guys. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.